From the Ministry of the Presidency in Georgetown, this is This Week with the President.
Welcome to another edition of This Week with the President, a weekly news magazine which provides you with an in-depth look at the policies, programs, and work of the President of Guyana in his quest to realize the good life for all Guyanese. I'm your host, Gomiti Gangadin. In the highlights this week, President Granger says independence has fortified Guyana's determination to be the masters of its own destiny. Jubilee fever takes over Durban Park as Guyana turns 50. Suriname, Commonwealth, United States and Barbados recommit to strengthen relations with Guyana. President Granger confers Order of Roraima on Barbados Prime Minister. Do stay with us. On May 26, 1966, after much political struggle, internal and external conflicts, Guyana became a country free from Britain's rule. On May 26, 2060, the country ushered in its Golden Jubilee anniversary of independence, celebrating 50 years of hard work, sacrifices, challenges, and successes. To mark this historic occasion in a specially recorded address to the Guyanese people, President David Granger said that independence has fortified the nation's determination to be masters of our own destiny. Guyanese today, he said, pay homage to the contributions of the ancestors, whose rebellion reinforced their resolve to confront the greatest of adversities and overcome the most dangerous challenges. He said that the struggle for freedom was long and hard, and the achievement of independence was a triumph of will and grit. Independence was the accumulation of centuries of resistance by generations of forebears. Guyanese can enjoy freedom today because of their consciousness, their courage, and their commitment to the cause of freedom, the President said.
Guyanese today pay tribute to the generations of men and women who were part of this historic and heroic struggle for self-determination. We can enjoy freedom today because of their consciousness, their courage, and their commitment to the cause of freedom. We pay homage to all those who were part of this process.
Guyana is proud of its achievement over the past 50 years, he said, since the country has managed to achieve all of these things and more, even as it faced threats to its territorial and internal national integrity.
We achieved all of these things and more, even as we faced threats to our territoriality and to internal national integrity. We resisted threats to more than two-thirds of our territory by Suriname and Venezuela for 50 years. We repelled an incursion into a large part of our country claimed by Suriname. We suppressed an internal insurrection in the Rupununi. Our nation has faced tribulations. Our people's unity, our will, and our strength enable us to overcome these threats. Guyanese today exult in their achievements and accomplishments of the past 50 years. We are proud of the men and women who led us on our journey thus far as an independent nation. The excellence of their service brought honor to our nation. Guyanese today pay homage to their heroes and honors their cultural, sporting, and academic heritage on this 50th anniversary of independence.
He added that Guyanese today honor their leaders who had the vision to have guided and the endurance to have sustained the nation during these past 50 years, as he recognized the contributions of the 8 presidents, Arthur Chang, Forbes Burnham, Desmond Hoyt, Chedi Jagan, Samuel Hines, Jana Jagan, Bar Jagdeo, and Donald Ramatar in leading this nation over these difficult years. Guyana's Golden Jubilee is therefore an opportunity to plan ahead and must help create a country that will fulfill its obligations to its children and generations to come, the President said.
Independence created a need for new institutions to preserve our achievements, to promote the development of our nation, and to protect our people's rights. We created our own Court of Appeal as our highest court. We refashioned our public and police services to ensure a better quality of life and human safety. We established the Guyana Defense Force to stand guard over our country's territory. We improved access to education, electricity, healthcare, housing, and potable water. We established massive agricultural drainage and irrigation schemes in industrial estates to put our people to work. We created institutions to provide social protection, such as the National Insurance Scheme. We created banking institutions to promote savings and provide credit for our people. Guyana, in a relatively short period of time after independence, improved our economy to provide a higher standard of living for our people. Successive administrations throughout the past 5 decades have continued to add to our national assets and to extend our public infrastructure.
President Granger also said that Guyana over the next 50 years must be a nation at work, employing the talents and skills of all persons of working age. He noted that our forebears suffered and sacrificed so that their children could have a better life than they had, and it is now this generation's responsibility to lay the foundation for the good life for the next generation. On May 26, Guyana joined other Caribbean sister states such as Barbados in the Golden Jubilee Club. Guyana became an independent nation on Thursday, May 26, 1966, but the independence celebrations began 4 days before and continued until May 29. All of the public buildings and business places, according to Dr. Odin Ishmael, were brightly decorated with streamers and buntings, bearing the colors of the Guyana flag. On the evening of the 25th of May, a grand cultural performance took place at the Queen Elizabeth Park, which was later renamed the National Park, and dignitaries in the audience included the Duke and Duchess of Kent representing Queen Elizabeth and representatives of foreign governments. Then at midnight, the Union Jack, the symbol of British colonial rule for 163 years, was lowered, and the new flag of Guyana, the golden arrowhead, was raised to the top of the mast. Just before the flag raising ceremony before a huge crowd, Prime Minister Mr. Forbes Burnham and opposition leader Dr. Cheddi Jagan publicly embraced each other, indicating their satisfaction that Guyana had finally won its political independence. 50 years later, with the exception of those personalities, the scene was almost the same. At midnight on Wednesday, May 25th, thousands of Guyanese turned up at the Durban Park to witness the hoisting of the Golden Arrowhead as the country celebrates its 50th independence anniversary, an occasion that every person of Guyanese heritage has been eagerly anticipating since the beginning of 2016. President David Granger, First Lady Mistress Sandra Granger, and other members of the First Family received a warm welcome from the crowd, who stood to their feet, waving their flags and cheering loudly. The President and First Lady joined Prime Minister Mr. Moses Nagamutu and his wife, Mistress Sita Nagamutu, government ministers, members of the diplomatic corps, and a number of overseas guests, including the Prime Minister of Barbados, the Right Honourable Frondel Stewart, and Commonwealth Secretary General Baroness Patricia Scotland, to witness the military parade by ranks of the joint services and a cultural show. The medley of national songs, dances, and fusion of drums showcased in all its glory Guyana's rich cultural mosaic. At exactly midnight, the Golden Arrowhead, the largest one ever created, unfurled atop the 180-foot flagpole, which was the highlight of the evening's proceedings. This was followed by a fireworks display by the Guyana Defense Force. For the many Guyanese who showed up at the venue hours before the actual event, the night was much more significant and emotional. Mr. Malcolm Pandey was one of those persons.
I feel emotional. I feel very, very good. I feel that 50 years has passed. We've had a lot of ups and downs, but I feel God has blessed us. Now we are 50 years, our country exists, our people are exuberant, they're very, very happy, and this idea of making this such a big occasion has brought a lot of patriotism to many people. I was alive in 1966 when the first flag was hoisted. And I'm happy and thankful to God that I'm alive today to see our country. Our country is very lucky.
Similar sentiments were also expressed by Mr. Andrew Carrington, who said that he was born 2 years before Ghana gained its independence, and now that Ghana is celebrating 50 years as an independent nation, he couldn't miss being a part of the festivities.
Oh, this is great. This is wonderful. You know, I was born in 1964, so 2 years later we gained our independence. So 50 years is a great feeling being home for the 50th anniversary of our independence, and I couldn't miss it for anything in the world.
The president at the beginning of the year had designated 2016 as the year of hope and healing, as he had noted that national unity and national building must also be hallmarks of the celebrations and observance of the Golden Jubilee. The president had said that Ghana's Golden Jubilee celebrations present the ideal opportunity for the Guyanese society to rise above the issues that promote division and recommit to the task of nation building. This, he says, remains his number one wish for the country and the people.
I believe now Guyana is more united than it was, 1, 5, or 10 years ago. And I would like to go down in history as helping to destroy that devil of national disunity.
Regional and international cooperation and friendly and cordial bilateral relations with countries in the various hemispheres, as well as international organizations, have always been a priority for President Granger. He has always believed and has made known the fact that Ghana has no enemies and will not endeavor to make enemies. He will, however, build bridges for economic, social, and even cultural cooperation so that all involved can benefit. Even in the face of the ongoing threats to Ghana's territory by neighboring Venezuela, Ghana has remained steadfast in its philosophy of peaceful resolution.
Guyana calls on all nations to eschew recourse to the threat or use of force in the resolution of international controversies. Guyana urges that friendship and understanding should underpin relations between states in consonance with the principles of international law and in a renewed spirit of global solidarity and partnership.
This approach has not gone unnoticed, and Ghana has since received support from the United States of America, Barbados, Suriname, CARICOM, and the 2 billion-strong Commonwealth of Nations, which comprises 53 countries. The new Commonwealth Secretary-General, Baroness Patricia Scotland, has vowed to ensure that Ghana's relationship with the Commonwealth is not only strengthened, but that the world and Venezuela understand that the body stands in solidarity with Guyana. During a meeting with the president on Wednesday, Baroness Scotland, who traveled to Ghana for the Jubilee celebrations, said that Ghana is a diamond in the region and that the Commonwealth is willing to lend whatever support is required. For Suriname, Ghana has always been a friend. During a meeting with President Granger, Ambassador Harvey Narendorf, advisor on the Council of Ministers of Suriname, said that he believes that the bilateral ties between the two countries can be further strengthened. As such, he has invited the Ghana government to explore opportunities for the two countries to continue to reap mutual benefits.
I think we have come a long way. Guyana is on its road to really as an emerging country, and like Suriname, and we have a lot in common, not only problems, but also very good things. Economically speaking, I just discussed with the president how many companies from Suriname have established their offices here and are doing quite well. And I do hope that the Guyanese feel as welcome in Suriname if they want to establish economic centers within our country.
The United States also shares cardinal relations with Guyana. With a change in the political climate and the cooperative approach which has been taken by President Granger and his administration, Mr. Juan Gonzalez, Deputy Assistant Secretary, Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs, United States Department of State, believes that new opportunities will now be presented for the two countries to deepen their ties.
The first thing that the President and I discussed was the amazing reservoir of goodwill that exists between the United States and his government and the people of Guyana, and our commitment to work together with them in actually trying to advance the prosperity and security of not just Guyana but the entire Caribbean, as CARICOM, the Caribbean community, is headquartered here. So we had a very good discussion not just about bilateral issues but what's happening in the region.
Back in March, President Granger, in an effort to promote and strengthen regional and international cooperation, especially in the area of security, toured the British naval vessel, the HMS Mercy. At that time, the President had said that Ghana alone cannot protect its borders, and as such will seek to promote international cooperation in the thrust of ensuring that help is always available should the need arise. Ghana's friendly diplomatic relations with Barbados dates back even before either country became independent. This relationship was further strengthened on Independence Day when President David Granger conferred Prime Minister of Barbados, the Right Honorable Frondell Stewart, with the insignia of the Order of Roraima, Ghana's second highest national award. The Prime Minister was bestowed with this honor in recognition of his support for the rights of small island states and low-lying coastal developing states, his advocacy for CARICOM's demand for reparations for the citizens of the Caribbean region, and his contribution to the reduction of the impact of climate change in the region.
The Cooperative Republic of Guyana is happy today, on this auspicious observance of its 50th anniversary of independence, to induct into the distinguished corps of officers of the Orders of Guyana the Right Honorable Frondell Jerome Stewart, Prime Minister of Barbados. National awards are ordained by the Constitution of the Orders of Guyana. The award of national honors is statute-based. This investiture ceremony today, however, is not a legalistic or ritualistic formality. The conferral of Guyana's Order of Roraima, and I don't think any Guyanese, Venezuelan, or Brazilian could miss the significance of the fact that Roraima is the point on the international law where the three countries touch. The conferral of this order, therefore, on Barbados' Prime Minister exemplifies the essential values which exist between the two states, Guyana and Barbados. And these values underpin the existence of the entire Caribbean community.
Prime Minister Stewart is known for combining his country's legendary leadership in regionalism with the international activism needed by the changing circumstances of the 21st century Caribbean. President Granger said that both Guyana and Barbados share a lot of commonalities.
The two states, Guyana and Barbados, both gained their independence from Britain in 1966. This is our Jubilee year. The two states pioneered the founding of the Caribbean Free Trade Area, CARIFTA, in 1965, even before they became independent. The two states uniquely established a joint High Commission in London soon after their independence. The two states' prime ministers, Forbes Burnham and Errol Barrow, were among the four founding fathers who signed the treaty establishing the Caribbean community in Chaguaramas, Trinidad in 1973. The two states, lamentably, were to become the only CARICOM states which were obliged to erect monuments to the victims of the Cubana de Aviación terrorist attack of the 6th of October 1976. On that day, 11 Guyanese were blown out of the sky off of the coasts of Barbados. So, ladies and gentlemen, our two countries, Barbados and Guyana, have long-standing ties.
The Barbadian Prime Minister said that he was grateful and humbled to have received this honor.
It's a very important moment for me. I have been a follower of Guyana for many, many years. I've been influenced quite a lot by what is happening in Guyana over the years. I was a great admirer of the late President of Guyana, and therefore to have been the recipient of this award this morning is a really humbling but a delightful experience. But you can be assured that this relationship is going to get stronger and stronger. And as a committed regionalist myself, I do not envision a CARICOM future without the factor of Guyana being part of that equation. For years we've been hearing that Guyana is potentially the breadbasket of the Caribbean, and I think that we have to fully exploit opportunities for bringing the countries of the region closer together. And since it was Barbados and Guyana that launched CARIFORUM, along with Antigua, whom we brought along later, and since it was Barbados and Guyana that were at Chaguaramas, as two of the originating countries signing the Treaty of Chaguaramas, we have to continue that leadership. And I think that the relationship between President Granger and myself promises much in that regard.
At the 50th Independence Anniversary flag-raising ceremony, the government announced the list of outstanding Guyanese to be conferred with national awards this year. 20 persons will be conferred with the Cacique's Crown of Honor, 29 with the Golden Arrow of Achievement, 26 with the Medal of Service, 2 with the Military Service Medal, and 4 with the Disciplined Service Medal. Now we will take a look at the President's Diary. On Monday, the head of state met with Miss Kelly Hiles, the 17-year-old Guyanese girl who was accepted into 21 colleges across the United States of America, including 8 Ivy League universities. Miss Hiles was accompanied to the Ministry of the Presidency by her mother, Miss Annetta Earl, her aunt, Mistress Shondell Innes Monroe, her uncle, Mr. Kenneth Earl, and social activist, Mr. Mark Benchcop. Minister of State, Mr. Joseph Harmon, also attended that meeting. The President congratulated the young scholar, referring to her as a product of the Guyanese society and a citizen of whom the nation is proud. On the same day, President David Granger and First Lady Mistress Sandra Granger attended a Mass for Guyana's 50th Independence Anniversary at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, Brickdam. The Mass was led by head of the Catholic Church in Guyana, Bishop Francis Allen. The President participated in the recitation of prayers and singing of hymns in celebration and acknowledgement of God's grace upon Guyana over the past 50 years. The Catholic Diocese is also celebrating its diamond anniversary, or 60 years of existence in Guyana. On Wednesday, Archbishop of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, Abuna Thaddeus, and 2 other executive members paid a courtesy call on President Granger at the Ministry of the Presidency. The Archbishop, who is visiting from Ethiopia, used the opportunity to congratulate the President on his assumption to office, as well as Ghana's Golden Jubilee anniversary of independence. He was accompanied by Miss Tsigoy Selassie and Mr. Abba Hali Mikel. On the same day, the President received the first gold pin from a limited edition collection featuring the Golden Jubilee logo from King's Jewelry World. The pin was presented to the President by owner of that store, Mr. Loknath Prasad, and his son, Mr. Rohandev Prasad. In an invited comment, Mr. Loknath Prasad said that the pin was specially manufactured to mark Guyana's 50th independence anniversary. Only 100 of those pins were produced. Thousands of Guyanese and other visitors turned out in their numbers for the Golden Jubilee Float Parade held at Durban Park. President David Granger and First Lady Mistress Sandra Granger were also on hand to enjoy the display of jubilation and nationalism. The jaguar, Guyana's national animal and the biggest land predator in the Americas, which was featured prominently in our Golden Jubilee anniversary logo, also came alive in some of the float creations. Several of the designs were also quite reflective, inviting spectators to ponder the past and to imagine a more cohesive, revolutionary future. It was a sea of colors and rhythms as patriotic songs blared from speakers, which were mounted on trucks, leading the revelers into the park. Families and revelers, mostly dressed in all or some of the colors of our flag, or some bearing symbol of national pride, congregated along the parade route, which began at the newly refurbished Stabroek Market Square and proceeded east alongside Bergdam into Durban Park. On their entry into the park, the masqueraders and other revelers were greeted with loud applause from those who had anticipated their arrival, including President David Granger, First Lady Mistress Sandra Granger, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu, and his wife Mistress Sita Nagamutu, and all of the visiting dignitaries and diplomats. That has brought us to the end of this week's edition of This Week with the President. Thank you for joining me. For regular updates on the Ministry of the Presidency, go to our website at www.motp.gov.gy, like our Facebook page, Ministry of the Presidency, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at MOTP Guyana. Do have a safe and productive rest of the week, Guyana. Goodbye.